Good day, everyone. Our lesson for today is all about cell interaction. How cells communicate each other. Can you imagine what it would be like if your brain couldn't tell your legs muscles to contract so you could walk? Or your bladder couldn't tell your brain that you had to use the bathroom? Or what if you had contracted an infection and your immune system had to deal with it? Cells needs to be able to communicate with each other, to do things, and so much more. There are few types of cellular interaction. Some of these interactions are meant for big molecules that enter and exit the cell. Exocytosis, which we call exiting the cell. Exocytosis is a process used by the cell to take out its trash and to incorporate proteins into the cell membrane. The process begins when membrane-bound vesicles form inside the cell, from wrapped in the plasma reticulum and the Golgi apparatus, or from endosomes or lysosomes within the cytosol. The vesicles, which may contain newly synthesized proteins or waste products, then move toward the plasma membrane. Finally, the plasma membrane and vascular membrane fuse, and the contents of the vesicles are expelled into the extracellular fluid. Waste proteins. A slightly different process occurs for waste products being ejected out of the cell. Instead of the proteins being incorporated into the cell membrane, once the vesicle has enclosed the waste proteins on the inside of the cell, it moves towards the cell membrane. The vesicle fuses with the cell membrane, releasing the contents into the surrounding environment through a bubbles-like shape. Endocytosis, bringing in the goods. Endocytosis is the opposite process of exocytosis. Endocytosis brings molecules into the cell. These molecules are important for the survival of the cell, such as glucose. The substances taken in by single-celled organisms are often particles or large polar molecules that cannot cross the hydrophobic plasma membrane. Many single-celled eukaryotes employ endocytes to ingest such food particles. In this process, the plasma membrane extends outward and surrounds the food particles. We'll use three major types of endocytosis: phagocytosis, sinusocytosis, and receptor-mediated endocytosis. If the material of the cell takes in a particle such as bacterium or fragment of organic matter, the process is called phagocytosis. The pinocytosis and receptor-mediated endocytosis will be discussed by Ms. Alpeche.
Next is we have the pinocytosis. Pinocytosis is one type of endocytosis, the general process by which cells engulf external substances, gathering them into special membrane-bound vesicles contained within the cell. So if phagocytosis is how the cell eats, then pinocytosis is how the cell drinks. Pinocytosis occurs in the following steps. First is that extracellular fluid droplets containing dissolved solutes gather in a pit at the cell surface. Then the plasma membrane wraps itself around these fluid droplets, forming a vesicle that is pulled into the cell cytoplasm. And after that, the fluid-filled vesicle then joins a lysosome, which contains digestive enzymes to form a lysosome. And then finally, the extracellular fluid is broken down by digestive enzymes, and the digested solutes are released into the cytoplasm. And last but not the least, we have the receptor-mediated endocytosis. It is a form of endocytosis in which receptor proteins on the cell surface are used to capture specific target molecules. So a ligand forms a ligand receptor complex when it binds to a specific receptor on the cell's plasma membrane. On the cytoplasmic side of the membrane, each receptor is linked to a protein called clathrin. Clathrin-coated pits are areas of the plasma membrane where these receptors and their accompanying clathrin molecules are expressed. The ligand receptor complexes are contained in a vesicle formed by the clathrin-coated pit sinking into the cell. This vesicle separates from the plasma membrane and travels through the cytoplasm. The clathrin molecules that cover the vesicle's outer edge leave the cytoplasm and interact with new receptors on the plasma membrane. The ligands and receptors separate as the uncoated vesicle merges with an endosome, and they accumulate at different ends of the endosome. Unbound receptors pinch off sections of the endosome, generating transport vesicles that restore the receptors to the plasma membrane. The leftover vesicles merge with the lysosome containing digesting enzymes, which now contain free ligands. And then finally, digestive enzymes in the lysosome break down the ligands into smaller molecules, which are subsequently released into the cell cytoplasm for utilization in a variety of cell functions. So now let's proceed to cell junctions. Cells can communicate with one another in a variety of ways. Gap junctions, tight junctions, and desmosomes are the three basic mechanisms for cells to connect with one another. These types of intersections serve a variety of purposes and can be found in a variety of locations. First is we have the gap junctions. Gap junctions are really important. Gap junctions are essentially tubes that join two cells together, and these tubes create a connection that allows for the transport of water and ions to and from the connecting cells. The electrochemical signals created by action potentials in the neurological system and cardiac cells, which cause your heart to beat, are also distributed through the tubes. So, now let's proceed to tight junctions.
Tight junctions. Tight junctions are the closely associated areas of two cells whose membranes join together to form virtually impermeable barriers to fluid. Tight junctions are different from gap junctions because they are the connections that form when cells are squished up against one another. In this case, the cell membranes are connected, but the content of each cells are not connected in any way. There are no tubes here, but there is an impermeable layer in between the cells. These types of cells connections are useful in places that need to contain certain fluids like in the bladder, the intestine, or the kidneys. Imagine if you didn't have any water-weight seal in these connections, fluids like your urine would be circulating through your body. Desmosomes. Desmosomes are specialized adhesive proteins, complexes that localized to intercircular junctions and responsible for maintaining the mechanical integrity of tissues. Desmosomes are quite different from gap junctions and tight junctions with desmosomes, which cells membranes are connected by thread-like substance that connect the cells across the space in between cells. Much like tight junctions, desmosomes physically holds the cells together, but do not allow fluids or materials to pass from the inside of one cell to the next. These connections are also attached to the scaffolding of the cells called cytoskeleton to help with structural support. The space in between the cells allow for water and solute to flow freely between each cells without compromising the connections. This is convenient for areas of our body that experience high stress, like in our skin or our intestine, because the space in the between of the cells offer flexibility that other junctions can't.